placed the ring on her finger. It's your boy Choco Pie over here. It's been a long time since I made a video, so it's kind of weird. But that right there is my big OG brother, Brother Martin. Of course, I asked him if I could make a video out of his wedding. That was just yesterday, and I was so blessed to be a part of there. I didn't get to just to speak, I guess, for a little bit. And I was so blessed, man. I don't really know the reason why I'm making this video. I just wanted to show off God, man. Nobody knows that brother, right? And I'm just a random person on the internet. But I met that brother going through joining him through anger management class, which honestly I needed. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I was a part of it for just a little bit. And I also struggle with anger issues. And part of his testimony, man, that brother been through a lot. I believe he told me he went to prison almost half his life almost. And he spent 2 years in isolation in prison. And, you know, I've been to jail many times, and I just remember being in holding cells by myself, and I almost lost my mind. And the brother was in there for almost 2 years by himself, you know. One funny story, I remember I called him once, just wanting to see what he was doing. And I asked him, hey, what are you doing, Brother Martin? And he said, hey, I'm playing chess. I said, oh, really? Who's over? And he says, no one. And I was like, what do you mean no one? He's like, I'm playing by myself. And I was laughing. But while I was laughing, I thought about it later, and I was like, man, that's so sad and crazy. Because 2 years of isolation, you know, he's able to, but like it's kind of, it feels sad, but also it's amazing that his mental never broke. And now it's a positive. He's able to be comfortable by himself. And, you know, a lot of us, and even me, I can't stand being by myself sometimes. You know, a lot of people get depressed. But his story is crazy, you know. He has a story where a long time ago, his ex, I guess while he was in prison, she was going around with another man. And I guess the prison let him out for a day. I don't know. I didn't know they did this kind of thing, but they let him out. And he went over straight to his ex's house. And he kicked in the door, broke 3 people's jaws. And then he waited till his ex came home. And he grabbed the ballpoint pen, and right when the guy came in, I think he broke his jaw and then grabbed him by the neck with the ballpoint pen to his neck. That's the man he used to be. The man I see now and the man I met is, man, he's amazing. You know, I can't say enough about the brother. You know, I haven't chilled with him enough, but I've grown to really respect him over the 2 years I've known him. Hearing his story, his testimony, what he's doing. You know, and at his age, you know, getting married to someone else that's just as kind-hearted as him is a beautiful testament to how God blesses you if you stay on the course. He says in Jeremiah 29:11, he has a plan for us, and his plan is to prosper us, to give us hope. And that's if you're willing to let God take control of your life, you know. He gives us free will if you choose. And from hearing from Brother Martin, he fought God many times. I think he said he even tried to come to God, and he still fought. You know, there's the pride, there's the anger, there's the unresolved things that everybody deals with. And I think he said the last time he went to prison is when he finally broke. And he said, hey, God, I'm done. Like, I need your help. You know, and then he never went back. Now, for someone like me that it's like a roller coaster, he also went through a roller coaster. And I'm still waiting for my moment that it's, you know, where he's at. Now, there's going to be challenges in his life still. But man, the blessing of God to see a man like him getting married to another woman. And mind you, you know, he said I could share his testimony. He adopted 2 boys that are close to being teenagers that are not his kids. And he used to be an ex-gang member, you know. And these kids come from his ex-wife. And they're not even his kids. They're his ex-wife's kids. And I don't think, and what I said at the wedding yesterday, not even normal Christians. It says in the Bible to take care of the orphans, and the widows. But let's be honest, other than giving money to some homeless people or maybe praying for them out on the streets, like I've done that and most Christians do that. But who can adopt someone else's kids and show them love? And I've seen him interact with them kids. He shows the Father's love, God's love, and it's the most amazing thing I have seen. You can see, I've seen supernatural miracles. I've seen demons come out of someone. You don't have to believe what I say. I've had my own arm supernaturally healed. God can show you these things, but we're human. We forget in an instant. Like years go by, I question some of the things that I've seen through God. But the thing is, when you see a testimony like his, those are things that for certain individuals, it will alter your life. And it will plant a seed that can change you forever. One testimony when I was a young boy facing a year up to jail from another man named John. That one testimony from him. And he also was a gangbanger. I don't know what my factuation with gangbangers are. But to hear that a man could be so evil or even worse than me and change his life around because of Jesus, that's what made me come to Jesus Christ and think, man, if God could change someone like him, then there's a chance for me. So I just wanted to shout out my big brother. Congratulations, Brother Martin. I know he won't see this probably because he don't have no TikTok. He old school like that. But yeah, for anybody else, man, there's going to be really tough times in your life. And right now I'm going through mine. But when you see something like that, you know that God, and he also says, when he starts a work, he finishes it. And there's another verse that says, if he has you in his hands, nobody can take you away from God's hands. So let that be an encouragement to y'all Christians out there, and to y'all non-Christians. It's okay. I didn't believe in God whatsoever. I grew up in church, didn't care about God, nothing about God interested me up until suffering came. It don't matter if you're atheist. I know all atheists, if they had a stomach cramp or if they felt bad, they've cried out to God at least once, saying, God, please help me, even if they don't believe, okay? So even the non-believers cry out. But I'm telling you, Jesus is real. I've witnessed him countless times in my life saving me. I've been kicked out of my house and homeless multiple times in my life. I'm not talking about like out on the street sleeping for days. I know there's brothers like that out there that I've known. But every time, when I was a youngster, even into my later 20s, every time I got kicked out because of my actions, God says, just like the birds in the sky and the fish of the sea, he feeds them and he gives them shelter. How much more does he care for you? And every time when I thought it happened more than 5 times in my life, God orchestrated people, Christians, that came out of the woodworks and they gave me a place to stay. I didn't have to sleep out on the streets. I think only one time. And I think it was in front of my parents' house. Begging them to let me back in. But anyways, have some hope, man. Hope is good. And if you don't believe in God, I'm not here to convert you. But I can only share what I've seen and witnessed myself. And it's up to you guys to take it however you want to take it. But anyways, this is your boy Choco Pie. I've been doing these because I think it's awkward now for me. But your boy's out. Deuces.